Surjit is a sister-in-law?
Surjit is a sister-in-law.
And she never went to authorities either?
She will. She's actually instrumental in how this case lands up how it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. She's very important.
Okay. This is a disclaimer that while discussing this case, we present a lot of our opinions, and our opinions are just that, opinions. They are not facts.
All right, everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Ectoplasm and Evil.
Ectoplasm and Evil, let's go.
We did it.
It's the thing now. We'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at Apogee for hooking us up with these hype mics. If you're loving the sound of this podcast, you have the hype mic to thank for that.
It's so easy. You could plug it right into your phone like we're doing right now.
Truly is plug and play. You could hook it up to your laptop. You could hook it up to your phone and just start recording.
That's right. Hyping up these hype mics. If you hear any scritching, that is our dog Olo. He is eating right now.
Yeah, Olo's having his dinner. It's actually his pre-surgery dinner.
It is.
Because tomorrow morning he goes under the knife for his luxating patella, his rear luxating patella, which was unfortunately like a genetic condition he had.
Yeah.
Right?
He's a half Yorkie, half Maltese. It's very common in the
Apparently
Yorkshire
pretty
Terrier.
common for small dogs. They have it on grades, right? Grades, grade 1 through 4 being the worst, but his left rear leg was a 4, which is the worst.
Yeah.
So since he's been back here in LA with us, it's just gradually been getting worse, and it's extremely sad because
it's really sad.
Drags it around.
He doesn't put
doesn't put any weight on it. It's honestly heartbreaking. But the reason that we even waited so long to do the surgery was because it was like a balancing act between letting him reach full muscular or skeletal maturity.
Yeah.
Right.
Skeletal maturity. Mm-hmm.
Skeletal maturity and doing the surgery. So but it kind of got to a point where the doctor was like, I think we should just get it done now.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if he's not putting his weight on it, he's going to stop using the leg, and then eventually
he's going to stop using the leg, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really sad to see him walk around now, but after tomorrow, they'll put a pin in his knee. It'll be in place.
Yeah.
And it'll have perfect movement. So he'll be,
on the road to recovery. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, at some point, he'll probably have to do his other leg too.
Yeah, he probably
He's got like a little grade 3 going on over there.
Yeah, hopefully, not in the near future.
Yeah. Hopefully he can wait like a year.
Yeah.
He can like live his pup life. You know what I mean?
But all that to say, yeah, if you hear him walking back and forth, having his dinner, that's him.
That's him. The little scritches, any water, anything, any outside noise.
He's the only person on set that does not have to hold for sound. He has the privilege.
Exactly. He's got puppy dog privilege.
Yeah.
It's very real puppy dog privilege.
It's facts.
He gets away with so much stuff.
Yeah.
Just by being cute.
Absolutely.
That's fair. It's valid. So you've been working on a podcast of your own on top of this one.
Yep. It's called All Grown Up Psych.
Yes.
And if you can't tell by the title, it's all about 90s and 2000s nostalgia.
Good times.
Yeah, the whole concept is that on each episode, I interview a guest who's had a significant impact on pop culture during the 90s or the 2000s, like millennial childhood.
Yeah.
I've been talking to a few pretty exciting people. I've had Swampy Marsh on,
nice.
The co-creator of Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Jim Jenkins, the creator of Doug.
Doug. Oh.
Yep.
Doug
that was an amazing conversation.
I bet.
Upcoming, I got Elisa Reyes from All That and Proud Family.
Dope.
Phil Rosenthal, co-creator of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everybody Loves Raymond was our first Dog Scooter's favorite show.
It sure was. That's
going to be special.
I got a pretty stacked lineup. I'm going to be stacking up my episodes, and then I'm going to start releasing them. So yeah, look out for that.
Yeah, come in to a YouTube channel and a streaming near you.
Then we'll have to do like the crossover podcast.
Yeah.
The collab.
Oh my God. I wonder if we can hijack some people from there who may have some spooky encounters from set.
I bet people do.
Yeah, or just spooky encounters in general.
Right.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm sure there are people that do. I mean, Jim Jenkins, you remember he was saying how much he loves Halloween and reflecting on Halloween as a kid and stuff like that. We were talking about that for quite a bit because of the Doug Halloween special.
I mean, that would be a pleasure to talk Halloween with him.
It would be.
An honor and a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. So I think we got some crossovers coming soon.
Hell yeah. Gotta love a good crossover. Olo is going under the couch.
Olo, get out of there.
Olo, hey. He's not allowed under the couch. Hang on. Okay, he's back out. As per our format, this is a true crime episode. I'm bringing a story that was actually requested by one of my followers on TikTok.
Okay.
Months ago.
Okay.
So without further ado, let's talk about the murder of Surjit Athwal.
Okay.
Details provided here can be found in articles from Medium by Mary Holman, The Daily Mail by Andy Gardner, The Sun by Don Himes, and Council Magazine by James Keeley. Trigger warning, this case is regarding what is known as an honor killing. Nothing about it is honorable. It's a disgusting practice where a woman or a girl is murdered by her family for causing whatever they consider to be dishonor to them.
I'm already upset.
And I have an additional trigger warning for domestic abuse.
Oh boy.
Apologies in advance for any mispronunciations.
How recent is this case?
This is actually an older case, but results are happening kind of recently.
Okay.
In 1988, 16-year-old Surjit Athwal was forced to marry 26-year-old Sukhdev Singh Athwal after having only met him once.
Where?
This took place in the United Kingdom.
In 1988?
In 1988.
So are we to assume that at that time the UK had no laws against marrying a minor?
So
or they considered 16 years old an adult?
I don't think that this was legal until she probably turned 18.
So they didn't do a legal marriage.
Perhaps
they did like a religious marriage.
That's what I feel like happened.
Okay. And she was forced by who?
Her parents. Surjit's mother-in-law, Bachchan Kaur Athwal, introduced herself to Surjit's family and acted like she was loving and would treat Surjit with love and affection. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. This reassurance of a loving home is what encouraged Surjit's parents to bless the marriage. Surjit's sister-in-law,
Her parents blessed the marriage, but she had already expressed that she wanted nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
She's just 16 years old.
She's just 16 years old.
But her parents were like, we don't care.
Yes. Surjit's sister-in-law, Sarbjit, who married into the family when she was 19, said, quote, "It all ended up like a war zone. Surjit didn't want to marry Sukhdev and was pretty much pushed into it by her family. She had hoped, because of Bachchan's false niceness at the beginning of the marriage, that it would be bearable, but it was a nightmare."
The sister-in-law is someone that married Sukhdev's brother?
Yes.
And okay, was her marriage forced?
Her marriage, I'm not sure if it was forced, but it was a horrible marriage as well.
Got it.
Bachchan was the exact opposite of what she portrayed herself to be. She was extremely controlling, and despite Surjit's attempts to adjust to all the new rules in her new home, she was unable to please her husband and mother-in-law. They controlled her and what she wore and didn't allow her to talk to her own family. Bachchan told her son Sukhdev to discipline Surjit with his fists.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going on, and they're like, we're not allowing you to talk to your family. Is her family not checking in? Is her family not like caring that like, oh, we haven't heard from her, or what's going on there? Did she say at all? You know what I mean?
I feel like this was probably like an old school mindset where they were like, well, she's with her in-laws now. That's her new family. If she's like not calling us, she's probably fine, because also Bachchan presented herself as such a nice, wonderful, loving individual that they were probably like, oh, she's just fine. She's well taken care of. She's just living her life.
This is terrible.
If you're old school enough to like force your 16-year-old daughter to get married to someone who's 10 years older.
You already don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Surjit tried to reason with Sukhdev and Bachchan, but they refused to understand where she was coming from and continued to treat her poorly.
Why would they understand? They're terrible people.
They are terrible people, yeah. They wouldn't. She decided she was over this treatment and began to rebel and stand up for herself. However, this upset her husband, who felt that she was challenging him as the man of the house.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The fragile male ego.
Of course. It's the cause of so many problems.
Yep.
I feel like so many cases can be attributed to just that one thing.
Absolutely.
As well as her mother-in-law. They physically abused Surjit and continued to do so even when she was pregnant.
Oh my God. So the fact that she's pregnant indicates that she's probably been having non-consensual intercourse with this man who she was forced to marry. So that's even worse.
Yeah, that's even worse. I have a feeling this is what they considered to be part of her marital duty.
I'm sure. I mean, this guy's just beating the shit out of her when she doesn't do what he wants. So.
Yeah. Sarbjit said, quote, "I would hear Surjit being beaten up next door. I felt sick as once I heard my sister-in-law hit the floor. Then I made out a different voice. It was Bachchan. She was attacking pregnant Surjit as well. Oh my God. Bachchan completely took over raising her grandchildren. She weaned them and told them to call her mummy."
So the kids were born?
The kids were born.
Grandchildren, there was more than one?
Yes, there were two.
Okay, twins or one after the next?
One after the next, and basically Bachchan was like, I'm going to take over rearing these children. These aren't like yours. Sarbjit said, whenever Surjit and I were breastfeeding, Bachchan would look at us and would say, the babies are not happy. We should put them on the bottle.
Oh my God. This woman is awful.
I don't even know how to describe what kind of a human being she is. She's like the lowest form of person.
100%.
What a piece of shit.
She needs to go.
Yeah. Surjit continued to rebel and decided to apply for jobs to get out of the house. It wasn't long before she landed a job as a customs agent with HM Customs and Excise at London Heathrow Airport. Her warm and friendly personality made it easy for her to make friends, and she felt welcomed and at home.
Did she tell people about what was going on with her?
She starts confiding in a male colleague later on, but she doesn't ever...
So at this point, she's never gone to authorities and been like,
no,
I'm being abused at home.
No, because she's being controlled.
It's very sad.
And threatened.
Right.
You know?
Very sad.
Surjit found her confidence and independence and started dressing like her colleagues, wearing Western clothes and started putting on makeup. Sukhdev was livid that Surjit was living her best life and began to spy on her whenever she was out with her friends. Wow. Surjit began to find support and companionship in a male colleague. The two became good friends and later fell in love. Of course, Sukhdev found out about this and told his family. According to Surjit, when they were having tea, Bachchan said, Surjit's disgracing the family. It's decided. We have to get rid of her. Surjit said, I was shocked, but thought she was just angry. There's no way she would be seriously suggesting murder.
This woman is a goddamn psychopath.
She's sick in the head. How do you even develop this idea?
From start to finish. So this is like fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the way that the entire family is just a bunch of freaks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every
not
single
one
person. Yeah.
Not one person had the sense, except her sister-in-law.
Did her sister... Okay, so she also had a terrible marriage. It sounds like abusive.
Yeah.
Right, so Dave's brother was probably also the same way as he was.
Yeah, because this is the kind of mom who raised them.
Sarabjit is a sister-in-law?
Sarabjit is a sister-in-law.
And she never went to authorities either.
She will. She's actually instrumental in how this case lands up how it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. She's very important.
Okay.
I thought she'll calm down, but Sukhdev was just sitting there and didn't say anything. Why would he say anything?
Yeah, he's down.
Surjit found out that the family knew about her relationship and she asked for a divorce, blissfully unaware that Bachchan and Sukhdev were planning on ending her life. Bachchan decided to use Surjit's request as a way to lure her on a trip to India, but instead, it was where they'd end her life.
How'd they use the request as a way to lure her?
So basically, Bachchan is going to tell Surjit that if she attends 2 family weddings, her wish to get this divorce is going to be granted.
I see.
So it's basically like giving her a...
Right.
You know, like it's a way in.
Yeah, they're pretending that, all right, if you just do these last 2 things for us,
yeah, like,
we're going to give you the divorce.
Exactly. We get it. We'll help you out if you just do this final thing for us.
Grimy as fuck. So they take her to India.
Yeah, so basically, unaware of the plan, Surjit happily accepted, of course. Surjit and Bachchan flew to Delhi on December 4th, 1998. Sarabjit said, when Surjit left, I was by the door, desperate to say something to her, but Bachchan was there and she closed the door in my face. We weren't allowed to communicate. Surjit's brother, Jagdish Singh, also tried to dissuade her from going to India, but she assured him that Bachchan just wanted company on the trip to show family unity at
Surjit
the 2
had a brother.
family weddings. Yes, she had a brother.
This is, again, one of those situations where almost everyone in this girl's life failed her.
Yeah, which is such a common thread.
Yeah.
Across these cases.
Because, I mean, obviously she got married into a psychopath family.
Yeah.
But her own family is who saddled her in that situation.
Yeah. She didn't want it.
For no fucking reason.
Yeah. I mean, she was just a kid.
And then clearly they weren't checking on her, or if they did, they didn't give a shit.
Right.
Of what was going on.
Yeah.
These things that you're describing, they're not like hideable.
Right.
Right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to pull up and be like, oh, it looks as though there's, people here are unhappy.
Right.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't give a shit.
Yeah, it wasn't enough of a problem.
But again, like we said, the type of people that would marry their daughter off at 16 years old against her will are not the type of people that will give a shit about her safety or happiness at any point in time.
Exactly. The day after their departure, Sarabjit called the Crime Stoppers helpline from a public phone box and left a recorded message. She said, I gave the police all the information. I told them my mother-in-law's name, Sukhdev's name, and where they were going.
Is the only information she had just that she said she intended to have her murdered when they got to India?
Yes.
Got it.
I told them the entire plan and begged them to take action. I also wrote them a letter while she was in India. They could have stopped this, but I got no reply to that.
She's telling UK authorities?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how this type of stuff works per se. I'm curious as to what the protocol is there. Like, if she's telling UK authorities and these people are already in India,
right?
Is it that UK authorities know that they can contact the local precinct
Yeah.
where they are in India and be like, hey, this is about to happen. You need to prevent it.
Yeah. I'm not sure how the Crime Stoppers helpline works or how like they would go about doing that sort of a thing.
Right.
Maybe they could, send that information overseas.
Right.
It's exactly where they are. Look into it.
Right.
Send the appropriate authorities.
Yeah.
It was all a big risk for me to do this because of her family.
Yeah.
When Bachchan and Surjit landed in India, Bachchan's brother Darshan Singh picked them up and drove them to a village in Punjab where these weddings were to be held.
These weddings are fake.
No, the weddings are actually real.
So just the timing worked out for Bachchan to do her plan.
Exactly.
Got it.
It's like the perfect excuse.
At this point, are you aware if like Bachchan's whole family is in on this? So Darshan is in on this?
I'm pretty sure Darshan's in on this.
Right.
Like, definitely.
You could only imagine someone like Bachchan comes from a shitty family too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like a bunch of goons.
Right.
A few days after the weddings, Surjit went to a travel agent to book an earlier flight back home, but she was unable to do so for unknown reasons. She never got on the scheduled December 18th flight with her mother-in-law. When Surjit failed to return to the UK, friends and family members began to question her whereabouts. Surjit said, I felt sick. I asked where she was, and Bachchan told me she was killed, but acted as if she had nothing to do with it.
But Surjit knew what happened.
Yeah. I mean, she knew the plan.
Yeah.
She was there. Surjit was unable to do anything about it, saying, I was scared into submission. They told me not to speak to anyone, and that I would also meet that fate if I opened my mouth about it.
Of course.
To cover up their crimes, Bachchan and Sukhdev claimed that she had fallen in love with someone in India and ran away with him. On one occasion...
They told that to who?
To anyone who asked.
But they told Surjit that she was killed.
They told Surjit was already aware.
Yeah, okay.
Of the plan. So the friends and family members who were asking beforehand, who I don't know if this is her immediate family.
They got told she fell in love with somebody in India and ran away.
Exactly. On one occasion, Sukhdev claimed to have spoken to her on the phone and that she had confirmed she wasn't coming back. Bachchan later boasted to her family that she had gotten rid of Surjit by getting a relative to strangle her and throw her body into the Ravi River.
Who's her family that she told this to in the UK? Random relatives?
I'm not sure who it was.
Okay.
I just know it was family.
Got it. These details are all coming from Surjit?
Yeah, she overhears this and she's not happy about it.
Got it.
Surjit's body was never found. This confession angered Surjit, who over the next 8 months continued to try and inform the police of what happened. However, the investigation stalled when the police would not accept it as a murder investigation, but preferred to regard it as a missing persons case.
The UK police?
Yeah, the specific team involved.
So she told them all these details and they didn't regard it as a murder investigation?
I guess because they didn't see it as proof.
Well, yeah, the point is somebody tells you this and then you get the proof.
Yeah, exactly.
How would she have the proof?
I have no... I feel like this was just laziness.
That's insane.
I feel like there's also a bit of racism.
Probably, yeah, actually, most likely.
Yeah.
Because what... I mean, imagine right now, right? That's like you call 911 and be like, I saw somebody getting shot at. And they were like, well, there's not enough proof for us to investigate that.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to investigate
Yeah. Your one job is to show up for that.
And also at that point, you said this has been like months. She
exactly.
had her murdered by a family member in India. I think you guys should look into it.
Yeah, I think you should probably check this out.
Oh, okay, I think it's just a missing persons report.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's believable. It's just shocking to the core.
It is. It's one of those things that it's shocking, not surprising.
Right. No justice. Okay,
None.
Great.
None.
Is anyone involved in this going to be brought to justice? Can I just spoiler myself on that right now?
They're in jail.
Okay.
But...
Well, what? There's an appeal?
Yeah. And Bachchan is getting an earlier release.
Bachchan's getting an early release?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is in the UK? She went to jail? Or in India?
No, this is the UK.
Okay. And she's getting an early release?
Yeah.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, it is
That's
pathetic.
Disgusting.
It is disgusting.
All right, carry on.
In 1999, the Metropolitan Police murder team took over the investigation. Surjit, who was arrested along with the other family members, informed the police about her mother-in-law's confession, the phone call she made to Crime Stoppers, and the letters that she had written. The police accused her of fabrication and also suggested...
They accused Surjit of fabrication?
Yes.
The police accused Surjit, the one person who's had the balls to tell the truth, of fabrication.
Yeah.
That's fucking outrageous.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, why would she make this up?
It's crazy how, again, like, the people who are actually in trouble can never get help. Fabrication for what? To what benefit would she be fabricating this shit?
It makes no sense.
Okay, carry on.
And also suggested that she was not well enough to provide evidence.
Not well enough?
Yeah, because she's like getting sick
Yeah, because she's getting the shit kicked out of her at home.
Yeah. And like dealing with all this mentally, imagine the strain it has on you, knowing what happened. No one believes you. No one cares.
This is horrible.
This investigation resulted in no prosecution. In 2004, Surjit felt brave enough to again push for justice.
2004?
Yeah.
And this took place when? The murder took place when? Because you said the marriage was 1988.
Yeah, the marriage was 1988. So the murder took place on 1988.
Surjit's marriage was 1988.
Yes.
So she endured this abuse for 10 years.
Yes.
Then she was murdered.
Yes.
Then nothing was done.
Yeah.
And then in 2004, Surjit decides she's going to try again.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did that go?
It's going to be better.
Okay.
So Surjit finally felt brave enough to push for justice, especially after all this stress had led to now a debilitating stomach ulcer.
Okay.
This near-death experience made her realize that she had to get away from this toxic family. She said, "I thought I have nothing to lose. My husband called up his mother before he called the ambulance to ask if I should go to the hospital."
Wow.
Yeah. When he finally called, the doctors told me that a few more minutes and I would have died. I suddenly felt a need to get justice for Surjit and
imagine what type of bitch-made motherfucker you have to be, right? Your wife is having a medical issue.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, we need to get this taken care of ASAP, we got to call 911, we got to get you to the hospital.
Yeah.
Hop in the car, I'm going to drive you myself.
Yeah.
No, you got to call your mom.
You got to call your mom to check in.
To be like, should she go? If she said no, then fuck her, she's dead, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, this is a family that murders people.
And on top of that, he obviously doesn't care for her because he was abusive too.
Correct.
To begin with.
Yep.
So this is just a bunch of garbage people.
So many victims in this story.
So many victims in the story.
What are these grandchildren like observing? What are they going through?
That's like...
Oh, right. I didn't even think to ask about them when Butchin came back. Did they ask like, where's our mom?
They must have, because there's no way they knew.
Right.
They're just children.
So if their story that they were spinning to everybody was
Your mom,
she met somebody and fell in love and ran away, they must have just told the kids that, right?
They
told her own children.
Her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
It is.
I wonder if those kids were being abused.
I mean, she had a son, so I'm sure the son must have been treated well.
Right, because they're favorable to the boys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is
they're probably raising them, grooming them to be another Suk Dave.
That's true,
right?
because what I also learned when reading about this case is that there are daughters in this family, and Surjit and Sarabjit were treated like trash, and those daughters were treated super well. So it's the whole daughter-in-law syndrome.
Okay, it's a daughter-in-law thing.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so potentially the granddaughter is like fine because she's like in the family.
She's blood. Yeah.
But the daughter-in-laws are treated like trash.
Got it. Fuck these people.
Fuck them all to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a special place in the seventh circle for them.
So, in India, Bachchan had a relative strangle Surjit, correct?
That's what she said.
That's what she said?
Yeah.
Do we know if Indian authorities brought that person to justice?
No. No.
No, we don't know, or no, they didn't?
No, they didn't. And Jagdish has been fighting for that ever since.
Jagdish is her brother?
Yes.
So that person who committed the murder is just walking around?
Yeah, just free. The murderers, plural, are free.
Right. That's fucked up.
It's beyond fucked up.
Who'd she go to this time? The same police?
I think she's just telling any authorities she can.
But do you know who?
I don't know which police she informed. I just know that she made contact with the police.
Okay.
And she's going to have more information.
What I'm curious about is like, because earlier, right, it was like Metropolitan Murder Department.
Because, it got moved to them.
Yeah.
The Metropolitan Police Department.
So I wonder if she went in there, demanded to reopen the case, or if she went to just a completely different department. Like, I don't know the different law enforcement agencies of the UK, but for example, in the US, right, let's say you had a murder case that failed at a local precinct level, you could probably go to the FBI.
Right.
And say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is going to move over to another unit.
Okay.
I suddenly felt a need to get justice for Surjit and free my children from the hell that we were all living in. I made contact with the police. Sarabjit's father then also contacted the police with more information, leading the case to be reopened in 2005.
Oh, thanks, Sarabjit's father, for finally stepping in. I didn't even think to ask about Sarabjit's having parents.
Yeah.
But she also had parents that clearly didn't give a shit about her.
Yeah, but I guess like that he learned enough that he decided to
all right.
Tell someone.
At least he got the case reopened.
Yeah, he got the case reopened. And it was passed to DCI Clive Driscoll, who was known for investigating historical crimes.
Okay, so you have a serious investigator on the case now.
Yes.
Got it.
Surjit agreed to complete an interview, and this inquiry found all the evidence that the previous investigation had ignored, overlooked, or misplaced.
Oh my God.
So all the letters she had sent, all of it.
They didn't see that stuff from the previous investigation?
They didn't care.
It would be nice to know that the officers that dropped the ball on that in the first place were disciplined or sanctioned in some way, but
Probably
most
not.
likely they were not.
Probably not.
Because those are some motherfuckers that can't do the bare minimum of their job.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. They're not doing, like, what are you being paid for?
Nothing.
You have one fucking thing to do.
Nothing. I mean, you've taken people who have been gone for 8 months,
Yeah.
and you have been informed that there was a murder conspiracy, and you're filing it under missing persons.
Yeah, and on top of that, she reported this before it even happened.
Correct. Yeah. And nothing was done.
And nothing was done. This could have been prevented.
Right.
She could have been saved.
Because like I'm saying, at a bare minimum, I don't know how this stuff works, but if you get that, I would imagine that you can contact local authorities elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I've heard of other cases where law enforcement organizations from different countries collaborate with each other to bring criminals to justice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, U.S. law enforcement organizations collaborate with Mexican ones,
Right.
with Canadian ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? U.S. law enforcement organizations have collaborated with like UK ones.
Yeah.
Right? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there are, criminals that are caught elsewhere, and there's a collaboration.
DCI Driscoll believed her and started to gather evidence both in the UK and in India.
And in India.
Yes.
So meaning that DCI Driscoll was collaborating with Indian authorities.
DCI Driscoll is now piecing together everything.
Right, but I'm saying, do you know if he was gathering the evidence in India from a private investigator he hired? Because he may have just hired a private investigator.
He goes there.
Oh, he goes there?
He went to India. He didn't hire anyone.
No way.
Yeah, he's the one who went.
So this guy's on the case.
This guy gives a shit.
That's
this
what I
guy's
like to
there
hear.
for the historical crime. He's there.
If only we had found him before she was murdered.
Yeah, if only it had just gone to him in the first place.
Yeah.
Driscoll said she gave a vivid account of how Surjit was tricked or drugged into going on a trip and then driven to a remote location where she was strangled and thrown into the Ravi River. In India, DCI Driscoll questioned Bachchan's brother Darshan, the main suspect. He was arrested by the Indian police back in 1999 in connection with Surjit's disappearance, but he wasn't charged.
In 99, the Indian authorities arrested people in connection with the disappearance?
But nothing came of it.
So he was arrested, but obviously they were like...
They still didn't give a fuck.
They didn't do anything about it.
At the end of the day, no one gave a fuck.
Right.
This guy was out.
Okay.
He's still out.
And he's likely one of the people that participated.
Definitely.
He could be the strangler himself.
Yes.
We don't even know.
Yeah.
But even if he's not the strangler himself, he's complicit in the strangling.
Definitely.
I mean, there's no way that he wasn't aware of what Bachchan was going to do. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Of what Bachchan was going to do, of who did it.
Right.
All of it.
Yeah.
He's like a key part.
Right. He was her liaison there.
Yes. DCI Driscoll continued his investigation for the next few years, but as determined as Surjit was to help, it wasn't until 2007 that Bachchan, 70 years old, Sukhdev, 43 years old, were arrested.
Wow. So this guy stayed on it for years.
He stayed on it for a while. He was persistent.
I can imagine that long after the murder took place, it's difficult to gather meaningful evidence.
Absolutely. But he was there like a bloodhound.
Right. Do you know what evidence he was finally able to gather that arrested them?
I have no idea what actual evidence there was, but it was clearly all linked to what Surjit
Okay, but he
said.
was able to piece together a timeline with corroboration.
Yes.
Right.
With Surjit.
Right.
Because they're working on this.
As far as you know, was Surjit the only witness he had in this case?
Yes.
Theoretically, she didn't even count as a witness to the murder because she wasn't there. She's just a witness to the plot being hatched.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more difficult if you don't have a witness to the actual murder.
Yeah.
But at least, okay, I guess if he goes to India though, right?
Yeah.
He could piece, that's crazy though because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But he could piece together, if you're digging deep enough, like, all right, here's where Surjit was on this day and this time. And here's the point where she went missing. Here's the point where she tried to go home early.
Right.
All this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And you said she was denied for an unknown reason to come home early, right? I would be willing to bet that the unknown reason was that Bachchan or Bachchan's peeps told that travel agent not to let her go.
That's exactly what I assume.
Right. Paid that person off.
Absolutely. And that's so easy to do there.
Very. Yeah.
You can bribe anyone there.
Okay, so DCI Driscoll was able to, like a badass, piece together enough evidence and arrest these two fucks.
Yep.
But now she's 70 years old. She's pretty much lived her life.
Yep.
She didn't get punished at any meaningful point in time.
No. She got to enjoy her fucking life without problems.
Of being abusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they get arrested and then what? They go to trial.
Yeah.
Just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
Okay.
This is actually something that incriminated Sukhdev that DCI Driscoll found. And it's that he tried to make an insurance claim on a policy he had taken out on Surjit's life the very day she left for India.
What a stupid fuck.
Yeah.
What a And first of all, okay, he's a stupid fuck.
Yeah.
And the first set of police that looked at this
Yeah.
are even stupider fucks
Yeah.
for not catching that obvious evidence. That's like murder mystery 101 type
Yeah.
shit, right? Actually, at this point, that is such a trope
It is.
in murder mysteries that it's like part of fucking parodies.
Yeah.
It's like so obvious that it's part of parodies, right? It's like, the spouse is dead, and so the other spouse mysteriously took out a life insurance policy right before. Like, what the fuck do we think happened there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so obvious.
And they told Sarabjit that there wasn't enough evidence.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was staring them in the fucking face.
Jeez.
It was right there.
That's unbelievable.
It's unreal. Sarabjit left her husband and took her children into hiding.
What about Surjit's children?
They were taken into the care of social services when their father was arrested.
How old are they now? They could be full-grown adults by now.
Yeah.
They could be about our age.
They could be about our age.
Because we know how far... We don't know what years they were born.
No, I didn't see that.
Because if she got forced into marriage in 88, she could have had a kid in 89.
Yeah.
That's when we were born.
Yeah.
Well, actually, put it this way. She had to have children before 98.
Yes.
And so they're all grown up now, that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be so traumatizing for them.
Extremely. I mean, extremely. I feel very sad for them.
Me too. Despite the Athwals insisting Sarabjit had mental health issues and local religious leaders antagonizing her.
Local religious leaders antagonizing her?
Yeah, because she turned on her family.
Fuck every single one of them.
Yeah.
Because at this point, the story's public, right?
Yeah.
At this point, they know what happened.
Yeah.
They know what Bachchan and her fucked up family did.
Exactly.
And they know that Sarabjit is not only a victim,
Yes.
but also a hero.
Yes.
For coming forward.
The only hero.
Right. For coming forward and actually trying to bring these fucked up people to justice.
Yeah.
And they're antagonizing her.
Yeah.
Just what you would expect from a fucking local religious leader, huh? They're supposed to be a pillar of... Obviously, they don't value shit.
No.
Wow, fuck them all. They should be in jail too.
They should be.
Fuck them all, man. Leave that poor girl alone.
Yeah. Sarabjit stood trial for 3.5 days. It was the first time anyone had spoken out in court against their family in an honor-killing trial.
I mean, just her doing that alone must have been heavy for her.
Absolutely.
Right? Because she's shit scared of these people.
Yeah.
She's gone through years of abuse.
Yeah.
So it's the type, I mean, I don't know what the word for it is, but it's the type of thing where, like, you've been abused by these people for so long. Even if you're aware that, well, at this point, authorities can protect me and I'll be safe, you're still scared.
Yeah.
It's still an emotional turmoil.
It's triggering.
Right.
And then you're seeing them again.
Right. So she testified for 3 days.
3 days. Both Bachchan and Sukhdev were found guilty of murder. Bachchan was given a life sentence with a minimum term of 20 years. Karen McVie of The Guardian stated that Bachchan was, quote, one of the oldest women in criminal history to be jailed for life. She was 70 at the time of her sentencing. Sukhdev received a life sentence with a minimum term of 27 years.
What is this? What, a life sentence with a minimum term?
That's...
What about just the life sentence?
I have no...
Life sentence means the rest of your fucking life.
Which is what you deserve.
Right.
For orchestrating...
What is this minimum shit?
The murder of your daughter-in-law and wife.
It's like nobody gives a fuck what these people really did.
No, clearly not. It's about to get worse.
Let's hear.
In March 2009, Bachchan appealed against both her conviction and sentence. Her appeal against the conviction was dismissed, but her minimum sentence was reduced to 15 years. It was deemed that the original sentence was manifestly excessive due to her advanced age and the grave cultural difficulties she would encounter in jail.
So they're taking pity on her.
Yes.
They're taking pity on a woman who her entire life has been an abusive psychopath.
Yes.
Orchestrating like multiple levels of just abuse of innocent people.
Just the most heinous shit you can think of.
Both Surjit and Sarabjit were abused. She had Surjit fucking murdered.
Yeah.
And they're taking pity on this woman.
Yeah.
They're considering how she might culturally adjust in jail. They're considering her age.
Yeah. As if she deserves any consideration at all.
This is despicable. Shame on the judge that made that decision.
Absolutely.
May that individual go fuck themselves. May that individual suffer because you obviously have no conscience.
Yeah.
When I gave her the life sentence, I would have been like, I actually hope that you live a long life.
Yeah.
Because you're 70 now. I hope you live to see 120 years old just so you could suffer.
Yep. And get the shit kicked out of you by the other prisoners.
Every single day.
Every single
day.
Because that's what you deserve.
Absolutely. So what? She's out now?
Not yet.
But it's coming up?
Yeah.
So what's up with Sukhdev?
Well, I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
He appealed against his sentence, but not his conviction. The minimum sentence was reduced to 20 years.
It's bullshit. So he's about to be free too.
Yeah.
So 2029, he's walking out.
2029, he's walking out.
And when is Bachchan walking out?
Next year.
So Bachchan's free next year.
Bachchan's free next year.
And a few more years, Sukhdev's out.
Yep.
So these people didn't pay any sort of fucking price?
No.
They were in jail for a few years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I hope that they get killed in jail before they get out.
Me too.
Because they don't deserve to be walking around free.
They do not.
This is a common theme. In fact, those same words that you just said, where like the judge said that the sentence was manifestly excessive,
Yes.
that's the same shit they said
For Nisa Gopal.
For Nisa Gopal's
That
killers.
is.
That's fucked up, man.
Isn't it?
How can anything be manifestly excessive for people that murder people?
I cannot.
For people that torture and murder people.
Yeah. I can't wrap my mind around it at all.
Manifestly it's the opposite of that.
You know what was manifestly excessive? What Nisa and what Surjit
went through. Right. In fact, there's no punishment those people could receive that could be considered manifestly excessive.
Now, although the masterminds behind the murder were caught, the actual murderers were not. In 2013, Surjit's brother Jagdish said that those who were paid to murder his sister remain free in India and called for a new investigation.
So it's multiple people, likely.
Working tirelessly to try and make this happen. Jagdish wrote a letter to the British Prime Minister David Cameron on what would have been Surjit's 42nd birthday. Jagdish said he can press the Indian Prime Minister for a full-scale investigation into this case. Although there was an investigation conducted by the Punjab police back in 1999, there were no convictions for the men who killed my sister. Jagdish called for any new investigation to be carried out by India's Central Bureau of Investigation, saying,
The CBI.
Yep. They have the capacity, the expertise, the personnel to act independently and equally to liaise with the British police directly and invite the input of officers who investigated the case in the UK.
Do we know if Driscoll had any suspicions as to which specific individuals would have taken part in the murder?
I don't know.
Okay, so I mean, at a minimum, Darshan.
He was definitely involved.
Right.
Bachchan told him, this is what I believe, Bachchan told him, and he hired some local goons.
To do it.
But
Right.
he oversaw everything.
That's what I'm saying. So at a minimum, he has answers.
Yeah.
So torture his fucking ass.
Yeah.
And get the answers.
Yeah.
Somebody need to just beat his ass.
They do.
What I mean is like, do they have reach in politics or the police force or...
I don't know
like,
about that.
are they a well-known affluent family or something? Like, I'm not
sure about that. But who knows? Maybe they paid them just enough.
Right.
DCI Driscoll said he was prepared to share the information he had gathered with the Indian authorities. He said, I have absolutely no doubt that I have evidence and information contained within my investigation which would be of assistance to the Indian authorities. In a statement, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office said it remained engaged in the case. It said, we continue to raise the case with the Indian authorities at appropriate opportunities. It was raised by Minister Hugo Swire on February 19, 2013, when he met with the Ministry of External Affairs Foreign Secretary Ranjan Mathai.
So that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you have any updates of since then?
I don't have any updates since then.
So that's the most recent update we know of when it was raised.
Yes.
For all we know, they just fucking probably dropped it.
Yeah, what's the appropriate interval?
That
crazy. That was 10 years ago.
So you got these, just like in so many cases, you got these fucking murderers just walking
free.
Wow.
Yeah. The government insists it's for the Indian authorities to investigate the death. The statement said, we cannot interfere in another country's legal procedures just as they cannot interfere in ours. As of now, the murderers themselves remain free.
I mean, I get that technically that's true.
Yeah.
But the Indian authorities need to fucking take action then.
They do.
They're not doing shit.
What the fuck else do they have to... Like, solve some real fucking cases. What are you really doing?
That's crazy.
On June 1st, 2022, the parole board said Bachchan, who is in poor health and suffers from dementia, could be released from prison. The board said that the issue of Surjit's body being found could not be discussed because of Bachchan's health issues.
What?
Yeah. Because now she's got dementia... She's sick.
Bro, whatever. Slap the shit out of her.
Yeah. She's still a murderer. Are we forgetting?
And an abuser?
Yeah. The panel was mindful of the distress that the lack of disclosure about the victim has caused to the family. However, due to the identified health issues, it was a matter that could not be explored directly with Bachchan. So basically, they're telling Surjit's family, yeah, we get that you're distressed by all this, but
we have to keep the feelings of the murderer in mind. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, fuck these people.
The panel accepted that her risk of reoffending was very low and heard that her healthcare needs had prevented her from being moved to an open prison despite the approval to do so in 2020.
It's not about her risk of reoffending being high or low. It's about paying the fucking price for what you did.
The consequences
That's what
of
it's
your
about.
actions.
Who gives a... No one's talking about whether she's going to do anything now. She can't. She's old as shit.
Yeah.
But she needs to pay the price for what she fucking did.
Absolutely. She was a horrible human.
Fuck this panel.
According to the decision summary, she will be required to live at a specific address and restrictions will be placed on her contacts, movements, and activities.
The specific address should be jail.
I agree.
But whatever.
Keep her ass there. And that wraps up everything I have on the horrifying murder of Surjit Athwal.
Pathetic. Tragic and pathetic. Yeah, this is a horrifying case. This case reminds me of multiple cases. I mean, I've heard this story that you just described in varying degrees multiple times.
Yeah.
And also very recent.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just last year, it happened to a girl in Queens, right?
Yeah.
You remember that story?
I remember that story.
And back in 2013, there was another girl from New York. She married a guy in the UK.
Yeah.
And when she moved there, her in-laws were mad abusive and they killed her.
Yeah.
Do you remember that story?
I do remember that story.
And those are just the two that are springing to my head right now. But I mean, you see this type of thing happen way more often than it should.
Yeah.
Because it should happen never.
It should.
So even once is way more often than it should.
Yeah.
And it's happening frequently.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not always happening in places far away from you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're talking about the UK. We're talking about Queens, New York.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy, man. So we don't even need to get into, of course, how the justice system failed here.
Yeah.
That part is obvious.
Yeah.
Surjit went out on a limb, called Crime Stoppers. They didn't do shit about it, right? And again, like I said, I don't know what protocols are, but I think at a minimum, they could have notified Indian authorities.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't have done shit anyway. But at the very least with that, even if they couldn't do shit about overseas, they should have been like, okay, as soon as Bachchan touches down back in the UK, we're going to pick her up and be like, where the fuck is Surjit?
Yeah.
Did she come back with you? Because we heard that you were planning to murder her. So where's she at?
Yeah.
Right? They should have started doing that right then.
They should have.
But they didn't give a fuck.
They didn't.
So they failed. People's own parents have to stop failing them.
That is...
People's own parents. I mean,
yes.
We just did 2 cases in a row where
yes.
people's own parents led to their demise.
Yeah.
Like
huge +1.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
It's unfathomable. Unfathomable.
Jesus, the toxicity is off the fucking charts.
It is.
Yeah, I don't even know how to put it into words. The only thing I guess, again, like I could say is I hope that we can all be more vigilant.
Yes.
To see if you ever notice something like this going on,
yeah.
Try and say something to somebody.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I said, be safe, right? And I'm not saying you have to involve yourself in everybody's business. You know, you have to be safe yourself and do things the right way.
Yeah.
But man, if you notice something that seems off,
see something, say something.
Right. Just fucking say something, because you could save somebody's fucking life.
You could.
And don't think to yourself like, okay, well, I don't want to make a whole thing if it's not off and something's not wrong. You should err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Is my point. Because like I said, these situations are far too frequent.
They are.
It's happening all the time.
Yeah.
Well, again, we have to say that Surjit deserved way better than she got.
And may Surjit rest in peace.
May Surjit rest in peace. And may Surjit's killers pay the price for what they did.
Absolutely.
You know, if they don't get caught by the authorities, may they still pay the price for what they did. May they suffer.
As they deserve.
May they suffer as they deserve.
If you or anyone you know is a victim of domestic violence, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or text START to 88788. Well, that is our case for the week. Next week, we will be back with paranormal investigations.
Looking forward to it. At least I will probably leave that episode not upset.
Yeah.
And just sad and heartbroken.
Yeah.
And that about wraps it up for another episode of Ectoplasm and Evil. We'll see you next time.
Or will we?
Ah.